Okay, so for now, we can start working on rest of the metal parts. So I'm just going to select this. And I guess what I can do is to go into edit mode. I'm going to just press P and separate by loose parts. And I'm going to just select this right part and delete it because we're going to do the same thing where we sculpt on the left side and we're going to just mirror it onto the right side and also flip it so that it is on the opposite side. So now I'm going to just select this and make sure that the mesh is watertight, which it is. So select this, go into sculpt mode, well, Shift R to start remeshing. And I'm going to set it to 0.002 because I think parts that are more visible, you need more geometry data, or else people will actually notice if things look a bit blobby. For example, this one, I could have definitely used a bit more geometry. Make sure you save your Blender file or else you might crash, and hit Control R to remesh. Okay, so I definitely remeshed it way too much. That's 2 million. So I'll just do the same thing, hit Shift R, and just have it be a bit higher than 0.002. So maybe 0.004, I guess. And I'll remesh it again with Control R. So this time it's around 700k, which is more than enough. And what I'll do is to just start using the scrape brush and scraping parts over. Usually I would just start a bit more zoomed out and just create these bigger cuts, and not too big so as to not mess up our normal maps. Okay, so I think I'm pretty happy with all the bigger ones. I guess I will start working on the smaller ones as well. So just turn your brush size a bit smaller and we can start cutting away at these parts. So in this case, on the back over here, it's definitely a bit too plain. So I'll definitely use the clay brush a bit just to add a bit of volume. And I'm going to cut away using the scrape brush. So something like this. Switch back to the scrape brush and cut it away a little bit by bit. So something like this is already pretty amazing. And now we can start sculpting in our lashes. So switch to this brush and once in a while do a quick stroke. In my case, my brush needs to be smaller. So something like this. Let me just make my strength a bit higher. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to hit Control S to save. I'm going to do the same thing with my auto mirror. Press the end panel to open a side panel and just hit auto mirror. Set the orientation to negative, I believe. So now it's being mirrored pretty well. Just hit Control A to apply the mirror. Go into edit mode. Select everything. It'll probably be a bit laggy on your PC. Press P and separate by loose parts. Now, same thing as before, I'm just going to scale it on the Y, so SY and -1. And now it'll be flipped onto the other side, so this side doesn't look the same as the other one. And I'm going to just join this part with this one. Hit Control J. And now we have to do the same thing, where we have to select everything with a shortcut A while you're in edit mode and hit Shift N to recalculate normals. Now go back into object mode, and it should be normal now. Okay, So let's work on this last golden part, I believe. So let me just check to make sure. Yeah, I believe so. Okay, so just save again with Control S. And now let me just work on this part. Go into sculpt mode. Well, before you do, make sure to apply your modifiers with Control A and then go into sculpt mode and just try to voxel remesh it. So 0.003 seems good. Go back to your sculpt brush. Try to scrape away bit by bit. Maybe I'll turn my strength a bit higher. In this case, we have to sculpt all sides evenly because you really can't mirror something from the middle or else it'll just turn out wrong in a bake. Make your brush a bit smaller so that you can have some smaller scrapes. Like so. And I'm pretty happy with something like this. So also make sure maybe we can add some more variation with the clay strips. Set the strength to something a bit lower. Just touch up these parts. As well as the parts on top. And just try to scrape away at it. Okay, so we're pretty much done with sculpting all these parts. Let me just also make sure to save my file. So hit Control S and save. And the reason why I haven't sculpted this part in the middle is because it's actually an emission part. So we would just be adding a material to it. And for the next part, we can probably start working on the rocks. So I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.